So, to get us started, I would like to respectfully acknowledge that the Alzheimer's Society of BC operates on traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of Indigenous people in all regions of BC. And I am presenting to you from the traditional territory of the Malahat, the Kwatsun, and the Wasanic nations in Shawnigan Lake. And our vision of a province whereby people living with dementia feel acknowledged, welcomed, and included will only be possible if they have access to resources and supports that are barrier free, which includes being free from any form of racism, including Indigenous specific racism. So, this brings us to our topic today. So, creative self expression is a powerful tool for healing, building resilience, and deepening connection. And each of our panelists has found hope and strength by sharing their unique stories and perspectives through the creative arts. So we now get the honor to explore their artistry and learn about their journeys and the impact that dementia has had on their lives through their creative storytelling. So our panelists will start today's webinar by showcasing their work, and then as a group, we'll have a conversation. So together, we'll explore the intersection of creativity and caregiving and delve into a deeper understanding of what it means to walk alongside somebody living with dementia. So it is now my pleasure to introduce our guest speakers today. So first, I would like to introduce Liz Omrall. So Liz was the caregiver for her husband, David, who was diagnosed with frontal temporal dementia. After his death, she authored the book, Love in a Different Way, A Journey Through Dementia. She uses her strategies from 50 years of working in the field of parenting support, making sense of children from the inside out to unravel the complexities of dementia. So thank you, Liz. If you would like to give a wave, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you, Kim, for inviting me. I'd like to share this afternoon three of my husband David's drawings plus his journaling about dementia, his experience from the inside of this disease, as well as my commentary as his caregiver. So I've got three pictures I'll be showing very at the beginning of the reading.
So,
And so David's
Liz,
journal. Yes, sorry.
sorry, I'm just going to introduce each speaker and then
Oh,
we'll
I'm
we'll
sorry.
go
I'm
into the
sorry.
spotlights. That's okay. No worries at all. I'm very excited though to get into it.
I'm excited too. So I'll have to start the race over again. Sorry.
No worries at all. So I'm going to introduce Jeffrey next. So Jeffrey Bird is based in North Vancouver, and he is a photographer, a writer, and an educator. And he recently received his Master of Arts degree in photography from Falmouth University in the UK. And I believe he's picking up his degree over the summer. So congratulations, Jeffrey. Uh, and during his 2 years of study, his photography, in collaboration with his wife, has grown into a purposeful practice aimed at bringing awareness to Alzheimer's disease, reducing the stigma surrounding it, and raising funds to support education and research initiatives. Jeffrey's wife, Erin, was diagnosed with young onset Alzheimer's at the age of 55. Using photography as a tool for advocacy and storytelling, Jeffrey's work explores the topics of memory, identity, and loss and grief. The work has been part of a healing process for him and his wife, and he hopes the images serve as a source of healing for others as well. So welcome, Jeffrey. You can give a wave for us. Thank you for being here. And I would like to now introduce Terry Marshall. So Terry lives in Caslow, a little village on the shores of Kootenay Lake. He supports his wife, Janet, who lives in a residential care home. Terry visits Janet every day, and together they share their music on their YouTube channel, Caslow Penny Lane Studios. They now have fans all over the world. Terry is a retired elementary school teacher, and Janet taught music at their home. They've been married for 45 years and raised 3 sons and 5 grandkids, and now even have grandkids of their own. They've shared great musical adventures and travel memories and continue to enjoy life in the blessing that is Caslow. Welcome, Terry.
Thank you.
All right, and next I'd like to introduce Peter Morin. So Peter is a grandson of Teltan ancestor artists. For the past 28 years of his artistic career, Peter's artistic offerings can be organized around 4 themes: articulating land and knowing, articulating Indigenous grief and loss, articulating community, knowing, and understanding the creative agency and power of the Indigenous body. So his work takes place in galleries, in community, in collaboration, and on the land. All of the work is informed by dreams, ancestors, Teltan ways of knowing, and close family members. So Peter is the son of Janelle Craik, Crow Clan, a Teltan nation, and Pierre Morin, French Canadian. And Morin currently holds a tenured appointment in the Faculty of Arts at the Ontario College of Art and Design University in Toronto, but his most important job is being a son to his mom and dad. So thank you, Peter, for being here today. All right, I just want to extend the warmest welcome to each of you, and we appreciate you being here, and we're really excited to kind of delve into your work. So at this time, I am going to start with Terry, and I'm going to welcome you to the stage, Terry. He is going to perform 2 original songs for us. Terry wrote the first song, Lost and Longing, for everyone affected by Alzheimer's disease, and I believe his lyrics artfully balance the feelings of loss and hope that accompany this journey. So on the screen, you will find the lyrics. If you would like to sing along at home, we welcome that. And Terry, it's the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Kim. This song, I was inspired to write a lyric about Alzheimer's because I've had a couple friends go through it, right, and are still in the journey. Really, it's a long journey, and there's a lot of challenges. Certainly, with my own experience, my wife has cognitive decline, and it's not Alzheimer's, but it is reduced faculties, and it's a real challenge to support somebody going through those experiences. And certainly, music has been something that Janet and I share, and it's something that I've used to express some of my feelings. So this is called Lost and Longing. If you're lost and longing for a pathway home, if the trail is tangled and the route unknown, keep to the roadway, follow the signs. Many have been here, the queue stretches in lines. The journey is puzzling, the purpose not clear. Why are we struggling? The answer to here. The guidelines are murky, directions bemused. We want to go homeward, but still we're confused. There's fear and there's horror as confusion grows, anger and frustration. There's no one who knows how to continue with hope when there's no hope to see. We're lost and we're longing for what used to be. As we reach for the light and the end comes in view, if you're lost and longing, we are searching with you. As the mists draw down deeper and the darkness looms, carry a lantern to light up the room. Your loved one is smiling, a sparkle in their eyes. Feel the heart connection, the blue sunny skies. They're still with you hoping there's good times to come, quiet times together. Now you've come home. Quiet times together. Now you've come home.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Okay. And the next song, and my last one for this section, is called Old. And it's the Scottish spelling because Janet and I have Scottish backgrounds. Janet was born in Nova Scotia. I was born in England. And we identify with the Celts of the world. Our friend Ron McDougall used to say there's two kinds of people in the world, Celts and Romans. And definitely I feel like I'm a Celt rather than a Roman. I'm not in charge of anything. But anyway, this is Old, and it's AULD. And yeah, here it goes like this. I was feeling really old last January, so a year and a half ago, when I lost a tooth. I had a tooth crack and crumble on me, and I had a toothache in another section. I felt like I was crumbling. And so this song helped me express some of the feelings of being old, and perhaps you can identify with it too. Old, you don't know the half. Getting old, it ain't no laugh. This journey's long, winding, and rough, and journey's end is just as tough. So dance while your legs still move, oh dance. Get in your groove, just dance to the beat of time. Dance all the time, just dance. Old. Life's a list of chores, getting old, can't do no more. This journey's work needs to be done till journey's end, and then we're gone. So dance while your legs still move, oh dance. Get in your groove, just dance to the beat of time. Dance all the time, just dance. Old. One drink's too many, getting old, I can't have any. This journey's passed with toasts and cheers, replaced by tea when friends are here. So dance while your legs still move, oh dance. Get in your groove, just dance to the beat of time. Dance all the time, just dance. Old. Memories in shards, getting old. Thinking so hard, this journey's past, lost in the mist. The time to come, a blur at best. So dance while your legs still move, oh dance. Get in your groove, just dance to the beat of time. Dance all the time, just dance. Old. Worried about our health, getting old, spent all our wealth. This journey's end is coming soon. Until then, dance to the tune of dance. While your legs still move, oh dance. Get in your groove, just dance to the beat of time. Dance all the time, just dance. Old. Our friends are dropping like flies, getting old, saying our final goodbyes. Left alone and feeling lonely, last man standing, the one and only dance. While your legs still move, oh dance. Get in your groove, just dance to the beat of time. Dance all the time, just dance. Old. This song's too long, we'll all be dead before it's done. This journey's pace we must maintain until we sing that last refrain of dance. While your legs still move, oh dance. Get in your groove, just dance to the beat of time. Dance all the time, just dance while your legs still move, oh dance. Get in your groove, just dance to the beat of time. Dance all the time, just dance. Thank you very
Thank you so
much, folks.
much.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, Terry. That was amazing. The line in the first song about carrying a lantern so we can
Yes,
find our way home really sticks with me. And
a beacon
yeah,
in the darkness. Absolutely.
yeah. Thank you so much for
You're
performing for
welcome.
us today. That was a real pleasure. And I see a
Thank you very
question
much.
in the chat about where you can find Terry's music. And Terry has a YouTube channel, which is linked on our helpful resources document where he has, how many videos do you have, Terry? Hundreds now, I think.
Almost 200 now. And so, original, but also covers. And we've got over 87,000 views of everything, so yeah, it's great. Comments, compliments from all over the world. So just so much fun for us to make those connections.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I encourage everybody to check out the YouTube channel and both songs. There's videos of both songs
Yep,
on there and many collaborations with his wife, Janet, who sings beautifully.
absolutely. And for her, the music is something that keeps her alive. She lights up when she starts singing. So even though she's really quiet most of the time, it's quite phenomenal to see the influence the music has on her.
Yeah, I in the videos you can see that light come on in her eyes, and she's so present in those moments. It's really a beautiful thing and a beautiful connection that you share.
Thank you. Caslow Penny Lane Studios.
Yes, do check
Thank
it out.
you. Do check it out. Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Terry. All right, next I would like to invite Jeffrey Bird to the stage. Jeffrey is a talented photographer who beautifully illustrates the emotional landscapes of caregiving through the visual arts. So Jeffrey, I'm excited to see what you have to share with us today, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can share yours with us.
Perfect. There we
Okay, that
go.
looks good.
Should be able to see what's going on there.
Yep, looks good.
Hello. Thank you very much for the introduction. I feel very honored and privileged to share my photography with you all today. I do hope that sharing my work provides a little bit of inspiration. I've got some samples to share as part of my journey, our family's journey, as we've gone through over the last few years. Quick introduction to my wife. She's on the left. Our daughter, Olivia, is on the right, and these are our two golden doodles. My wife was diagnosed with young onset Alzheimer's at the age of 55. That's about 4 years ago now. And our journey continues today. My background is I'm a teacher at BCIT. I teach in the School of Business. I've done photography as a hobby, as a passion for almost 40 years now. It's been a wide range of photography that's been a part of my practice, everything from wildlife to landscapes, um, the city life, fireworks, all kinds of photography. 2 years ago, I had a bit of a midlife crisis. Some men go out and buy sports cars or Harley Davidsons. I didn't do that. I chose, as I approached my 60th birthday, to enroll in a master's degree in photography. I thought at the time it would serve as a bit of something of a distraction, something for me to go and explore and get away from some of the challenges that were happening in our household. In the first month of my class, one of the tasks we had was to pitch some ideas of what we'd be doing for our master's thesis, what we called our final major project. And I came to a meeting with my instructor online. I had 4 ideas. The first 3 ideas he dismissed. My last idea was Alzheimer's as a subject, and he just said, do it. And I wasn't sure if it was something that I wanted to embrace with my photography, but I have absolutely no regrets now that I was pushed in that direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly take you through a few projects I worked on while doing my master's degree. This was my first project. I call it flowers, stolen flowers from my wife. I use symbols and metaphor. They play heavily into this project. Uh, Very personal exploration of beauty and joy while dealing with shared loss and grief that we live with every day. I struggled at first to try to find a way to document what really is an invisible disease. And I was walking through my neighborhood on a early autumn day, and I noticed my neighbor's hydrangea flowers were starting to fade at the edges, but still there was a lot of real beauty as part of these flowers. And when I started actually stealing them from my neighbors' yards and bringing them back home into a little makeshift studio I'd set up, I paired them together and they started to look a lot like what my wife and I had seen in some clinical scans that documented her gradual diminishing brain activity. So this project really centered around these hydrangea flowers. I invited my wife to be part of these photography sessions that I was working on. She not only was a model, but very active in engagement with the process and being active in helping me out with producing some of this work. In the end, I put it all together, and it was a lovely little book that I created, self-published book, and I think it tells a lovely little poetic story with that. My second project was what I called stolencars.ca. This actually came from an idea a number of years ago. Henri Cartier-Bresson is a historic figure in the world of 35mm photography. In the 20th century, he coined this term decisive moment. That's the idea when you take a picture, your decisive moment of capturing that light is what happens. And I came across a study from 2006 that referenced Henri Cartier-Bresson's decisive moment. And the medical research suggested that the cessation of driving was that decisive moment for people with that had been diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer's. So I thought I'd do something around that. My wife had purchased this car, and it was about 3 months after one of her cognitive tests that the doctor said, I think you should stop driving. But here we still had this car in our family, and I wanted to, kind of work this into a story of her now having to be in the passenger seat of her own car that she owned.
Mm.
But interestingly enough, this car that she owned also turned out to be one of the most stolen vehicles in Canada. And I thought there might be something interesting I could do with this. I created this little poster concept around the stolen vehicle, which, as you can read through the content of the poster that I created, wasn't really about the vehicle. It was more about the situation with Alzheimer's. So I used this. I did a little guerrilla campaign, posted some of these posters around, shared it on social media, and I had some other support as well. From the website, people could make donations. They could also take a look at some other photos from this project that featured my wife in her role now in the passenger seat, and what that might look like in its various iterations. And then I also invited my wife to participate in this. I gave her a little Instax Fuji camera to take some photos. And I shared some of these photos too on the website, just to show that contrast to, you know, what the perception is, what the view is from an individual that's that has Alzheimer's. My third project I was called Traces of Us. I want to use my photography and my relationship with my wife to explore the wide range of emotions that a caregiver and partner experience. This really kind of took me out of my comfort zone. It asked me to be a subject. I invited myself to be a subject of the photography. A lot of uh, pictures of myself involved, a lot of selfies that were a part of this. I'm not used to being on this side of the camera, but it was a really, I think, valued exploration of working with my wife and collaborating together. And then my final project, my thesis project, final major project, we called it, The Light We Hold On To. And this was a public exhibition that I did during Alzheimer's Awareness Month back in January. What I did for this particular project, I accessed our family archive. I took pictures from our family archive, and I experimented with projecting those images in relationship to my wife today, and how these memories are still very much a part of our lives, and my wife and my experience of living with my wife. So these were some of the images that came out with that project. All of them have my wife featured in some form in the past and the present. So it's a blending of the past and the present in each of the images. This last image is actually from our wedding day. That image is projected onto her wedding dress, which she still has kept in her cupboard. So that's been my journey. I did want to highlight as well that there are many other photographers out there that have used self-expression related to dementia and Alzheimer's, and these might be worthy publications to consider. Judith Fox has whoops, that's not Judith Fox's book. This is Judith Fox's book. Judith Fox has a lovely book. Her husband had dementia. The later stages of his illness documented a very personal set of images, and wrote some lovely poetry to go along with it. I highly recommend that book. Mama in the Meantime. This is an expensive book if you buy it through a self-publishing site where Tony Luciani has posted his book. You can also find all of the images on his website, and it's a beautiful, very fun reflection of his mother. He's a caregiver for his mother, and shares some wonderful photography that way. And then this last book is The Day After. It is by Joe Wallace, and again, another really good book. Joe's grandparents both had Alzheimer's, and that put him on a journey to document as many people, caregivers, doctors, those that are living with dementia or Alzheimer's, put together a lovely, it was a gallery exhibit and turned out to be a beautiful book too. So hopefully that inspires you as photographers, and sets you on a long journey ahead.
Thank you so much, Jeffrey. I can see there's lots of comments in the chat. Thanking you for those wonderful images. I find them very powerful, very engaging. They draw you in and tell such a strong story. So thank you. Stolen flowers for my wife. There is a link on the helpful resources document as well if you're interested in where you can find that absolutely beautiful photo book. So thank you,
I
Jackie.
also have a set of links too that I can share for each of those other photographers too. So I'll post that in the chat.
Thank you. And I think Peter put the titles in as well. Thank you, Peter. Okay. Liz might have had to step away briefly. So why don't we, are we ready to go to you, Peter, if that's okay? Um, so I am delighted to invite Peter Morin to share his art with us. Peter is a dynamic performance artist, and his work is deeply rooted in Teltan ways of knowing and pays homage to his ancestors and family relationships. And so, Peter, if you're ready, I will hand it over to you.
Yeah, Liz had to go in. Oh, Liz came back. Liz, did you find the sheep? The sheep's okay?
We'll come right back to you, Liz, okay?
Yeah. Thank you so much. And this is very an exciting space to be in. And as was mentioned, I'm from Tahltan Nation. Tahltan Nation is northern British Columbia. And our territory crosses over into what is known as the Yukon. My mom is a Crow Clan matriarch, and you can see her behind me here. And she actually has been more than an active part of my creative work. I have consulted with her on majority of my artwork, paintings, performance works. My father is a French Canadian man from Thetford Mines in Quebec, and they met over 55 years ago. Back in the day when mixed race marriages in Canada were frowned upon. Uh, my mom, I want to just share two things, but I just also feel so moved by what has been shared already. So it's really nice to be in connection to other creative folks and artistic folks who are using our respective skills to understand what is happening inside of our loved ones, and how I'm understanding art and how I'm practicing art is not necessarily solely focused on how I feel, but I'm also along with that thinking about what this means beyond the moment, you know. So my mom and I, in 2023, I coordinated an exhibition with the Smithers Art Gallery here in Smithers, BC, where I showed 20 years of different artistic projects that my mom consulted and helped me to make. There's a whole bunch of YouTube videos. I made YouTube tours for each of the artworks, but our mom had moved into the care home at the time. We walked with her. We walked with her on this journey, and the first time I heard the word Alzheimer's was when I was 17, because our family actually has a genetic trait for Alzheimer's. We didn't know that at the time, and turns out our family is a rare family in terms of the spectrum of lived experiences of folks with Alzheimer's and dementia. It's very rare for Indigenous families to have that genetic marker. So we've actually lived now with Alzheimer's for 100 years, 100+ years. My mom is from a sibling group of 15, and 7 of them have lived now with Alzheimer's. And my mom is currently one of the last ones who's working and living and transforming through what this disease is. Her younger sister, Auntie Anna, had just gotten the genetic marker, a genetic test identified the marker inside of her body. And, she's just now figuring out what this means for the rest of her life. And so one of the things that we've been doing, and Mom and I, like, I became a time traveler in my performance art practice as a way to try and understand the multiple times that she lives in. And so some folks might not know what performance art is, which is reasonable. It's a very weird, obscure part of the art language of that we have. It's like this. So, somebody makes a painting, and they make a painting in private, and they show the painting, you know, and the painting has the evidence of the energies of what the artist was thinking and feeling. But a performance artist might make the painting in front of you, right? And then the performance artist might also um, break the canvas in front of you, you know, so that the energies of creative practice can wash over you, you know. So I guess just as a way to kind of honor that, I'm wearing this hat. My mom had this dream of this hat. She'd say to she'd call me and she'd say, "Are you wearing your grandpa's hat?" When our grandpa died of a brain uh, degenerative brain disease in 1969, and so there was no hat. And what happened was, you do these things where you're like, no, Mom, I don't have the hat. And that doesn't feel good, right? And also, our culture is a culture of telling the truth, actually. And a lot of Indigenous cultures are like that, where we prioritize truth telling as a way of practicing respect. And so I started to lie to her. This is when she still would call. She's now at the end stages of her journey. And I started to lie, and that didn't feel good. Also, it doesn't feel good to lie to your mom, you know? And then I started to think, well, I'm an artist. I can make a hat. I can make the hat, you know? And that's the kind of practice of the artwork that I undertake, you know? Anyway, but then I still was like, Mom, I left it at home, or no, Mom, and it didn't matter when she called, I always answered. My siblings and we always answered her phone. Didn't matter if we were teaching classes or in business meetings or, whatever on on dates. It didn't matter. We always answered, you know? And, I was teaching at OCAD University, just started the job there, and this is 2019, and 2020 happens, And eventually she started to say, I'd lie to her and say, I'm wearing the hat. And she'd say, well, are your colleagues asking you about the hat? Don't they know your grandpa was an important man? And I was like, oh, so now I'm lying. And now I have to protect my colleagues from this Taltan powerhouse matriarch. You know what I mean? So I really had to like figure out what to do, because I didn't want to carry that absence, right? Because I absolutely refuse to see my mom as deficient in any way. I always, and this is my artist brain, I always see her as transforming, and transforming power. And I realized I could get some funding, and I realized that there was these things called milliners. They make hats. And so I found a milliner in Toronto named Karen Ruiz, and I told her the story, and I told her what I just shared with you, and she said, "We can make this hat," you know. And it took 3 months, and I used my funding, and I finally picked up the hat. I finally picked it up, and I put it on, and I'm walking back to work, from her Lilliput hats on college over to OCAD University, and my mom calls and she says, "Are you wearing your grandpa's hat?" And it was the first time I was able to say to her, I am. I am wearing my grandpa's hat. And she said, "Good. He really wanted you to have that hat." And so this is the kind of the place of art where I rest and uh, am alive. And I'm really because as Indigenous people, there is a lot of past harms, and folks with dementia in Western culture, Canadian culture, are very positioned as people who are not active producers of knowledge and knowing. Um, but in our cultures, Indigenous cultures, it's important for me to also make that space for her to be an active participant in how our culture moves into its next stages. And Alzheimer's isn't new. We've had it as a family now for 100 years. So, um, so here she is wearing the hat, and I'm here wearing the hat. We're wearing it together. It's the first time we've worn it together. And I wanted to also just offer this song. So while we're here, and during the pandemic, it was very hard, as we all know, probably hardest on our loved ones with dementia and Alzheimer's. Um, anyway, but it was great for me because all of the classes were online. So I was just here in Smithers, BC, and I could be the relief care worker because our dad was, on, right? We know that story now too, right? And so I was here, I would teach the class, and I would, do all the cooking, do all the cleaning, and feed everybody, all the things we do as caregivers for our loved ones. And while we're sitting there watching TV one day, and she said, she was looking at these pillows that I'd made. I'd made these pillows with our faces on them. And this is the artist thing, right? Where I was like, I need her to be able to see faces that love her. And so she'd get up with her sundowners in whatever time and move herself to the couch. And on the couch were all of our faces looking at her with smiles, right? And I'm sitting there with her in the house, and we're watching Ghostbusters. Watching TV with our loved ones with Alzheimer's is so great, right? Because it's always a new movie for them, and it's always a good movie. And she said, like when we watch Ghost, and she said, it's one of those things where she said, "This is a really good movie," and then she said, "Does does Dad know how good this movie is?" And I said to her, "We will tell him, don't worry, you know." And while we're watching Ghostbusters, she picks up the pillow with my face on it, and she starts singing the song. And luckily I was there. We win because we're in the room with them. And she sings this song, "Peter, Peter, I miss you already. I wish you were coming home. I wish you were coming home. And I thought, I got a pen and I remembered the melody. And she wrote a Tahltan song using English words, right? And because of the job I have being an artist, I and the support I have in a community, and thought we're gonna move that those English words into Tahltan language. And so for the uh, exhibition we had at Mom and I had at Smithers Art Gallery, I did this performance where I sang her song to the land here. And we had help, I had help with moving the English words into Tahltan language from our family members whose names are Edonama and Lux. And this is the first Tahltan song. It's the first modern Tahltan song, and it was written by a woman, a matriarch, who at that point had been living with Alzheimer's for 8 years. And our family offers this song whenever we can, because again, I want people to know that even with Alzheimer's, in the art world, but in the Canadian world, and also in the Indigenous world, and also in the Tahltan world, because these are all the worlds that I have the privilege of being a part of, as well as this world here with all of you great creative forces and the loved ones that you carry with you, because I can see them in your eyes. And we, I sang this song to the mountains and the trees and the rivers, and um, so I'm gonna offer this here because my mom is an artist and she made this for me to offer to you. Azuta, azuta, inda idulu iye. Dulin Kimma Clondine Doll. Dulin Kimma Clondine Doll. Atuta, atuta. I miss you already. I wish you were coming home. I wish you were coming home. Oh, so that's me. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, Peter, that was so beautiful. I think many people are probably teary-eyed. What a amazing storyteller you are, and I absolutely love the hat.
Well, my grandpa really wanted me to have it.
It's so,
Thank
I
you.
mean, it's just such a beautiful way of how we still maintain that connection with their identity is there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, thank you.
thank you. That was beautiful. Okay, well, I am now excited to introduce Liz. So I would like to welcome Liz to share with us a passage from her beautiful book, Love in a Different Way, A Journey Through Dementia. And throughout the book, Liz incorporates the illustrations and journal entries of her late husband, David, who lived with frontal temporal dementia. And the interweaving of Liz and David's perspectives, it's emotional, it's deeply insightful, and I think it really does further our understanding of what it is like to live with frontal temporal dementia. So Liz, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'll bring up this picture one more time. This is David's first entry in our book. And he writes, the adjacent picture illustrates a deep sense I have of my present situation as an Alzheimer's patient. The river Liz and I are on is moving fast and has high, rocky sides to it. We cannot escape the path we are on. I experience my decline in my cognitive and social skills in this same way. I can't escape the movement of this disease. I have a foreboding sense that the waterfall I hear in the distance in front of us is really my death as I leave this world. I have an image of Liz at some point down the trip will have to jump out of the canoe and swim to shore. I don't have that choice. Inside my brain, a disease process is tangling and shrinking my narrow complex. After I travel this river and have many collisions with the rocks, causing more brain damage, I'm destined to launch off the waterfall and fall forward into the light's mist. I have many times where I have felt terrified and very disturbed about my future into Alzheimer's soup. This shrinking brain process has many times disabled me from acting, functioning. Several times I found myself to be in a state of paralysis. The psychological pain is sometimes very acute. It takes an enormous amount of energy to face the Alzheimer's destiny. End of quote. We had paddled many a mile in the faded red canoe that David used as a metaphor for our life together. Our first trip was our honeymoon at the start of our love story. Over many decades, subsequent canoe trips afforded us so many wonderful experiences. We caught fish and watched nature up close, just as the time we saw Mother Otter teaching her pups what to eat. Our children played in the belly of the canoe, then napped in it, cuddled in their blankets, and lulled to dreamland by the rhythmic sound of the paddles and the gentle rocking of the boat. We are now on our final trip. Sorry, I'm just as emotional. I apologize. But this time, we struggled to stay on course, even in quiet, familiar waters. David, pictured in yellow, was no longer in his lifelong position of navigator in the stern. He had lost control and was relying on me to set the course. We were headed for many collisions with the rocks. David's internal GPS was never going to be accurate again, and he wasn't going to be able to navigate either the river or his life. The rocks, which showed up in his life as feeling disoriented and overwhelmed in his day-to-day experiences, or lacking a filter when he talked to people, were only going to increase. Unlike on our honeymoon, he wasn't going to be able to avoid the waterfall. The disease was eventually going to lead to his death. David made sure to depict both of us on this final journey. I felt he was saying all we needed was a feeling of being in it together, a feeling that dementia threatened to tear apart. His next picture. The description to address the imagery of the orange mask. I did it several days ago to display how I can feel when I'm completely drained of energy. The disease process we are struggling with causes my brain to run out of electric mental function energy. If I've allowed myself to become quite exhausted, my brain feels dense and lethargic. All I want to do, can do, is watch television, more proactively a movie that I own and have previously watched. In this orange picture, I'm using my big gray eyes to display the dull gray matter, which is my brain. The speechless mouth speaks for itself. The black oval surrounding the orange face notes the closed-in, disconnected feeling I have when in this state. The strip of yellow outside the black casing is the light of God, which is ever present. The orange circle on the extreme edges depicts other human beings and Liz, who are shut out of consciousness. Pacing my energy level is critical, so I do not fall out of real time and place. End of quote. The invisible glass wall. Quote, I have known for some time that something was wrong with my body. For the longest time, I thought it was spiraling downward from adrenal fatigue. I just kept hitting my face against an invisible glass wall and collapsing into a heap. I felt completely depleted. Often I felt like a zombie with no coherent thoughts at the same time. The gas tank was empty, and the carburetor was clogged with rust and debris from the bottom of the old tank. When we finally received confirmation that my condition was probably Alzheimer's, I felt stunned and shocked for days. Slowly, I put together a sense that now I had an explanation and a potential for an actual treatment plan. We knew the devil we were facing, and it is ugly. The relief is knowing where the glass wall is. My brain is shrinking far too rapidly as my brain is degraded by the disease process. Now I understand our predicament. In the picture, the black spots in my brain represent the degenerated parts. The solid gold hand at my back is to show the unconditional loving support of my wife, Liz Amaral. End of quote. I remember reading David's description of the invisible glass wall again and again. I wanted to make sense of what was happening in our relationship. I thought about him bumping into a wall that separated us, and I knew I was hitting up against it too. Through that glass wall, I could see my soft-spoken, empathetic David. But the closer I got, the more the glass distorted his words and his actions. I tried to reach out to the man he used to be, but the wall was impossible to break through. With the dementia slowly but steadily ravaging David's brain, our togetherness was slipping away. Our trust and ability to rely on each other were being destroyed. I desperately clung to those places in our relationship where we found comfort and protected each other, but my grasp was getting weaker and weaker. I didn't know the label for it at the time, but we were experiencing ambiguous grief. There was no clear end to our losses, just an uncontrollable slide into the unknown. Along with grief came anger. We had more and more unresolvable conflicts. David would get agitated, loud, and critical, yelling about any issue at hand. At the time, I saw his reactions as so out of place. I know now he was struggling to communicate through an overloaded brain. I wish I'd known that back then, but I didn't. I answered his reactions with, "Don't be so silly. Smarten up. You're overreacting." Hyper aware of the potential for an explosion, I found myself walking on eggshells. One afternoon, as soup simmered and filled our sunlit kitchen with the comforting aroma of cumin and beans, the serenity was shattered by David shouting, "I need the top-of-the-line iPad." We were trying to decide on what to buy that he could use to calm his brain, now so often in overload. "Listen to me," I yelled back, hoping to shock him into some of his previous self where we discussed the pros and cons reasonably. An anger raged inside of me that I had never known, foul frustration at its hottest. Our disagreements had unleashed in me a wild fury, and its burning intensity scared me. I wanted so much to be heard, so I kept pushing and pushing my point. David kept pushing and pushing his point. Annie, our border collie, cowered and headed for her kennel, anything to get out of this new war zone. In the heat of the moment, during our worst conflict, I stormed out, threw myself into the car, and sailed down the hill to Lakeside Park. I found a parking spot, slammed the door shut, and started walking. I walked and walked and walked. As the emotional pain began to subside, I started to feel an excruciating physical pain that replaced it. Inside my worn-out shoes, my feet were aching, bitterly cold and wet. I'd been tramping through 3 inches of soggy snow for quite some time. I looked back to where I had parked the car. It was a long way away. To this day, I don't know how I made it back to the car in such pain. Being swept away by anger had left me with poor decision-making and 3 frostbitten toes. I committed to never let our arguments get that far off the rails again. To help us work on our communication, we turned to Jean, the counselor who had set up David's daily schedule. We talked about mutual respect and deep commitment to each other that we'd always had. We'd understood each other's personalities and accepted our differences. Now my focus was reduced to David's physical care and managing his emotions, while also protecting myself from his self-centered wants and demands. For his part, David couldn't consider my needs or think about how to meet them. Jean helped me see that I couldn't have the same expectation of David as before. He was no longer capable of seeing things objectively. That glass wall was distorting his personality and blocking me from speaking to him as I had throughout our whole married life. It wasn't because he didn't want to be that person. He wanted to know he couldn't be that person anymore. I needed to let David be who he was in that moment and respond to him with the knowledge he was doing the best he could. I faced the fact it was up to me alone to set the tone for all of our communication and manage the challenges. This was how I could live out my love for David. Once I accepted this shift in perspective, I embraced my new role as caregiver for David with dementia instead of trying to fight it. Though he wasn't able to conceptualize this new approach, David felt its effects. In his journal entry, he calls it the unconditional loving support of my wife. Jean called it love in a different way. Our relationship survived thanks to the reset I was able to make. With love in a different way as my compass, I wasn't going to be afraid anymore of where we were headed. I still am now. I still get emotional when I think about how deep my love for David was, despite all the abuse that dementia brought. I really did have unconditional love for my dear David. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry, Liz. That was incredibly powerful. And this journey can be so difficult and challenging.
Yeah,
Um, but having read your book, that unconditional love is such a strong theme throughout. It
yeah,
truly is.
yeah.
And thank you so much for sharing. I, I, I truly believe those illustrations and journal entries are an incredible way of sharing knowledge of what he was experiencing through his eyes.
David gave us an amazing insight view of dementia from the inside. He really did. He
Yeah,
filled 4 journals, 4 spiral-bound journals with his writings and his pictures, his drawings. And I just chose some of them to put into our book.
thank you. I know that was hard to share, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you to all of our presenters and guest speakers today. I found that's so enlightening and inspiring. The creative arts and storytelling, I think, is one of the most powerful ways to shift the way we think and talk about dementia and change the conversation around dementia. So so much gratitude to each of you for sharing a little insight into your work and your journeys. And I know there's many thanks expressed in the chat box. In the remaining time that we have together, I would love to kind of delve a little bit deeper into your creative process and kind of learn how the creative arts have helped you navigate through your caregiving journeys. And so I'd like to ask each of you how your chosen art form has served as a therapeutic outlet throughout your caregiving journey, and specifically how creative self expression has helped you process emotions and navigate through grief and loss. Um, Peter, would you mind going first? I'll give Liz a moment.
Um, well, that's a hard question. First of all, I don't necessarily just think of grief and loss as one thing or one experience. I do think of it as a part of a network for our, being. And so when I'm making artwork, I'm also trying to and activating these, it's like a muscle, right? Making art. Artists, we have this muscle, you know. I guess other folks, they do sit-ups,
Yeah.
But when you're doing sit-ups, you're also activating all the parts of your physical being. So, you know, my goal, as I tried to mention, is how do I honor my mom's power, you know? And in doing that, and activating that art muscle, uh, I'm entangling with grief and loss, and love, like Liz, that love that you just shared with us is so profound. All the love on this panel is so profound. Amazing to be here. Um, and so part of what I want to say as my answer is I'm documenting how I am changed alongside of how she is changing. you know Even the language we used as a family changed. So I'm not here by myself. I'm here with my dad and my siblings, and she's been in the care home for 4 years now, and it's only been a handful of nights that she's um, uh, been put to bed by the staff of the care home. So, like, it's more than 1,200 times we've been there every night for her. um, And so we changed our language. So we changed the culture of our family. We changed it. We said, we all have Alzheimer's, because we actually do. You know, we walk with her in the care home. We walk with her through the journey of Alzheimer's, and we are bringing her home uh, for the final part uh, on July 6th. So that's part of my answer. Uh, Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Um, I think you described that beautifully because we are all transformed if we're walking this journey. And I've heard so many times this isn't a disease that impacts the individual only, it impacts everyone in their network, in their community. Um, thank you. Jeffrey, I know grief and loss has been part of what you've explored through your photography. Can you share a little bit about how your art has been a therapeutic tool for you?
Well, I think more than anything, and I touched on it just with this, transition and going to do my master's degree. Um, I think it's always been for me looking for an excuse, a distraction, something away from this thing that's happening in our lives. And what it forced me to do was actually embrace it, work with it, be a part of my wife's journey in a much bigger way, rather than just being a partner kind of side by side with her, but being part of that journey together. That's what really changed for me in starting to create these images, work on the different projects. Was I really started to embrace what was going on, and I felt a much bigger part of the journey.
Thank you. Such a collaboration your work is with your wife, Erin. Terry, how about you? Can you speak a little bit about how music has been an outlet for you and Janet and such a source of connection throughout your relationship?
Certainly. For me, my experience with Janet when she was younger is she was the powerhouse. Peter talked about his mom's power, and that was my experience with Janet too. And uh, her present phase really began about 5 years ago when she had a really serious fall down our basement stairs and had a concussion and broke 3 ribs and was bedridden. And that changed her completely. right? And it changed our lives together. So she was not this person that I could rely on anymore. I had to find the strength in myself to be a support to her, and I guess I did, right, in a sense. That now she's been in a long-term care home uh, by advice to me, people telling me that she was not safe at home anymore because she was so fragile and in danger of falling and really hurting herself. And so um, I accepted the advice to get her into a residential care situation. And there's some guilt on my part, feeling that her health is really pretty good. Why couldn't I manage her at home? And then I do look back and kind of just take some solace in the fact that I did manage her at home for 4.5 years, where I was, cleaning up some toilet accidents and you know, really walking on eggs, as Liz says, not in fear of myself, but in fear for her of what might happen if a crisis occurred, because that's what happens, right? You go along, everything's fine, and then and a moment's inattention or whatever, or of no fault of mine, an accident would happen, and she was having episodes where she'd pass out, sitting in a chair, she'd pass out. And I at first went into panic mode. But then, after my third or fourth call to 911 and then talking me down and then saying, just get her level on the floor and then the blood will be back into her brain and, her consciousness will revive and everything. And realizing, okay, just stay calm, carry on, that idea that we'll get through this. And yeah, for me, music is something that is a huge challenge. It's wonderful, and it's drives you crazy too. You go, why can't I? Why can't I be better than I am? But it is what it is, and like you said, it's been a connection between Janet and I, and the great thing about modern technology is that with YouTube, it reaches out. Our experience reaches out to other people too, and that's really um, empowering, if I could use that term. Right, it makes me want to keep doing it. Right, yeah.
Yeah, the connections that can be formed through art, through storytelling, through just sharing your experiences with
Yeah,
others can be so validating, and this journey can be isolating, and it's so important to make those connections along the way. Well, I'm glad
thank you.
music has been a facilitator of that for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And if you check out the YouTube channel, many of the music videos are performed within the long-term care setting,
Yes, yes.
and bring joy to many of the residents there. So it's a great way to build a community around you.
Mhm.
Liz, is there anything that you would like to share on that topic of kind of how writing may have been a therapeutic tool for you?
Well, it was a very sparse therapeutic tool, being, well, uh, on the journey of dementia, let's put it that way. When I looked at I needed to write stuff down, I know that. But when I looked at an 8 by 11-inch piece of paper, it was too big, but I could write things on Post-it notes. So I used to write,
Mm.
ideas, things that David was doing, anything that was pertinent, that was out of the ordinary, or even that was ordinary was worth noting sometimes. Anyway, and ironically, that I then stuck them on the 8 by 11-inch papers. But what it ended up doing over 13 years of caring for David was it gave me a paper trail. I mean, if you saw my dining room, it is one of the tables is just loaded with binders, David's binders and my binders. Like, we have so much written and drawn work of this 13-year journey. But yeah, there was uh, something different about just it wasn't even that we set out to record it that way, but that's what happened. That's how we made sense of our journey on that road, was with drawings, writings, and post-it notes.
Thank you. And the way you have brought them together and you've so like seamlessly interwoven both of your perspectives throughout the book, it's very beautifully done.
Thank you.
Okay, I see we are getting close to the end of our time here together. And so I do want to have an opportunity if there are any questions. So I will invite those tuning in today. If you would like to ask a question of our panelists, please put them into the chat box. And while you're doing that, I will just open the floor if there's any kind of final remarks that you would like to share with those tuning in today. Please feel welcome to maybe something that got you started on your creative path that might help someone else.
Well, it was for me, it was my promise to David, because what, as I mentioned just in the passage that one of the passages I was reading, you know, if I had known, if we had known early on what we were facing, like we had no idea of the early signs that David was showing. Certainly David writing about it was with the hope that other people could read what he was experiencing and then recognize it. And certainly, you know, I mean, I have talked to many people, you know, since David's early experiences, and whether, you know, what we're seeing in somebody is dementia or not, but they're doing uncharacteristic things. And I think that for me has been the golden nugget out of all of this, because as I said as I as I read it out to you, you know, I mean, I'm yelling at my husband. We didn't yell. That's not the kind of relationship we had. But if I had known that this is what I was walking into, I know I would have structured things so much differently. I mean, I realized David couldn't, but so and I promised David, you know, I didn't say when you died, but you know, I will get this out. I will somehow or other get your information, get your experience out so that others can read about it and have at least a heads up, if nothing else. So yeah, that, you know, just to, you know, I mean, we live our lives, right? And we can be uncharacteristic in different areas. But when it has a bit of a pattern to it, you know, so you know, asking questions, you know, it helps to be supportive. I mean, yeah, as I say, this love in a different way. It transformed me. It absolutely transformed me and made the journey something that, you know, as I say, it was my love transformed, because I certainly wasn't feeling it till I came to that point.
I know it will help others. Thank you. Is there anything else anyone? Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I think to your question there, that if you are looking at doing something, maybe you are already writing, maybe you're already taking pictures, maybe you're already drawing or painting or making music, or maybe you're just starting to think about it. I would look at it from doing it for yourself first and foremost, that it's not always about finding an audience for your work, but just get it on paper, get it down, get it out of your system, share it, and see where that audience goes and grows. That it really is. I think first and foremost, your audience has to be yourself, and then grow your audience from there.
Thank you. And I believe you said something along the lines when we were planning this session that you started doing it for yourself, and what you found was community. People came forward seeing your work, and
that was, you know, definitely a surprise. You know, as every time I would create a new project, I thought, you know, is there an opportunity to share this broadly, whether through social media or other forms? And each of those times, I tried to create some type of um, opportunity for people to donate where they could. So each of those projects I shared with you had some level of, you know, donation attached to them, and thousands of dollars were ultimately raised, and that just elevates your feeling of contribution and doing something when really there's nothing else that can be done other than creating and trying to help others along the way. So that's been another big part of great joy and satisfaction for me, is just seeing this huge hug that came from people that I've shared my work with, and seeing some value come from that work.
Thank you, Jeffrey. I mean, what a wonderful sense of purpose it brings forward.
I I love all of this, and I th I think for me I mean there's a lot of uh, pain that people have around creative action, which stops you. Maybe it's that grade one teacher who told you to hold your crayon in a certain way. So having that chance to get get through that for yourself is one thing, and maybe if you are thinking about creative actions as a way to document your lived experience with your loved one who has Alzheimer's and dementia, that'll help you to heal yourself as well. That choice to be creative for them, because there's a lot of troubling things around what you know. I mean, Western culture and Canadian culture does a lot of disservice to what artists are doing. Oh, artists are so fancy and they chase the leaves. They get inspired by the falling of the leaves. It's not practical. All that kind of stuff that we as creative folks, we entangle with and fight with every day, not just outwardly, but inwardly. And I love what Jeffrey's saying. Like, you have that chance to overcome that in service of someone who you love is really beautiful. And I think we hear that also from Liz as well, that chance to write on a post-it note
Yeah.
or to write those songs and actually sing those songs, with your loved one. All of it is scary, and all of it is necessary. And I think for myself, I'm also thinking about legacies, because Canada still has a continued an ongoing violence towards Indigenous women and girls and uh, um, Two-Spirit people. And so, with Alzheimer's, there's that thing where people, it's like some folks believe that this is a reason to ignore, or my auntie said at one point, and I have no blame, or I'm not assigning any emotional thing here, but she can't remember me. So she, how do I know she's able to participate? Like that thing we all hear, you
Yeah.
know. And so I've been thinking a lot about legacies, and my work creates a space. And I have this privilege now, after 28 years of doing this job of being an artist in Canada, um, where I can make this work, and the system will now remember our mom, as well as everybody I get to visit with, like today. Um, so there's that too. That's me. Thank you.
Thank you. I think telling these stories, it really helps us keep their spirit alive, their memory alive, and such a way to honor them. So, and to learn from the journeys that you've all taken. If there's something that we can take away from your experiences that might make our journey a little bit easier, that's very profound. So, thank you. Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't see any questions, just a lot of thanks and gratitude from the chat box.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Okay, well, then I will just share my closing slides and bring us to a close today. Just 1 second, bear with me. Okay. Okay, so thank you all so much for joining us today. Um, I would love if you have a few moments to please fill out our evaluation survey. And so it will quite literally take just 5 minutes of your time. And it truly does help us make sure that we're bringing you the content that you really want to see. It is vital for us to continue to improve our webinars. So really encourage you to go to or click in the link on the chat box, or if you prefer, you can go to alzbc.org/feedback. And then if you yourself are interested in sharing your lived experience, your journey, your perspectives with us, we welcome you to email us at livedexperience@alzheimerbc.org, and you can connect with myself, and I would love to hear your story and help you share it, just as our panelists have done here today. And then just a reminder that we do have the the first link, dementia helpline available. So if you are needing support, if you have questions, please do reach out through the helpline. We have services available in English, in Cantonese, and Mandarin, Punjabi, Hindi, and Urdu, as well as a helpline for those folks living in the Yukon. And as we close our webinar today, Terry is going to sing us out. So go ahead, Terry. And thank you all
Okay.
so much for being here.
So this is Keep Calm and Carry On. These dark days we're living through. These dark days, the worst has come true. But this too shall pass, I promise you. Keep calm and carry on, and we'll get through. The world's on fire, the flames grow higher, the end game's here, we're full of fear. How can we hope? How can we see a future full of what might be? But this too shall pass, I promise you. Keep calm and carry on, and we'll get through. War rages on, the innocent die, terrorists strike, politicians lie, conflicts flare, bombs fill the air, while doctors work to heal the hurt. But this too shall pass, I promise you. Keep calm and carry on, and we'll get through. In darkest times, a light will shine. There's hope ahead to ease the dread. The young are strong, they'll fix the wrongs. We'll rise again, the storm will end. This too shall pass, I promise you. Keep calm and carry on, and we'll get through. This too shall pass, I promise you. Keep calm and carry on, and we'll get through. Keep calm and carry on. 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 Keep calm.
Thank you, Terry.
Take care, folks.
Wishing everyone a
Yeah,
wonderful week.
yeah.
Thank you so
Take
much for
care.
being here.
Look after each other.
Bye.
Fantastic. What a day. Yeah, great.